All right, it's Jay with Parallel Defense. I'm here with Mike, the PTR.
Sir.
What's going on, Mike?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
Doing good, man.
Last day of Shotshow. We're almost done.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
almost done.
Alone, man. I'm losing my voice.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting through it, though.
I don't know how I still have mine, but,
All right.
count my blessings.
So these offerings he has, man, these are nice. Let's talk about this one, man.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Sure. So this is one of the first ones that we put out. This one we came out with a little bit about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So this is our 9mm suppressor.
Okay.
So all of the suppressors in our line are 3D printed, right? Fully monolithic 3D printed. The first 3 suppressors we put out were all done in titanium. So that would include this one as well.
All right.
Super lightweight, super quiet, super low back pressure, right? Like those are all the buzzwords everybody wants to hear, and we're checking off every box pretty much. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it looks dense, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna weigh a
light.
ton. The overall length on some of the earlier iterations of what we were doing were on the longer end of the spectrum for stuff and whatever, but the performance was also ultra on the top of the spectrum too. So it's kind of, maybe for everybody's use case, this length is a little bit too long for them or whatever, but there's nobody that can deny the performance of what these are able to do. Yeah. Cool, man.
All right. So moving on, you have your rifle offerings, right?
Yeah. So, like I said,
5.56.
yeah. Started out with the 9mm.
Okay.
Then we had the 5.56 here, which was again, one of the longer offerings. But so what's new for us this year would be our new 5.56 offering, which is here.
Okay.
So one of the bigger feedbacks that we got from the original series was kind of like twofold, right? It was, again, maybe a little bit longer for my use case or what I want to use. And then also like, oh, titanium, I would prefer something that's a little more robust, a little more abuse proof, right? So we took a lot of that feedback, directly to heart, and we switched the overall length down. So now this is a 6-inch overall length. Okay. So going more towards that compact area. And we went to an Inconel, right? So yeah, super robust, super abuse proof. It's about 15 ounces for that one. So definitely, heavier than the titanium offerings, but honestly still really manageable. Doesn't really change the balance point on most of the host weapons that you put it on. So it feels really good. And in doing the shortening of the overall length thing, my biggest focus as the engineer was I just really wanted to make sure we weren't sacrificing performance to do so, right?
Yeah.
So everybody knows these cans for the sound mitigation and the overall signature reduction that they're able to achieve. And I made sure that with this can right here, none of that went away. So in case your viewers aren't necessarily familiar with what kind of differentiates our suppressors from other low back pressure systems that are out there. So we have a patented technology inside here called purposely induced porosity. Okay. So what purposely induced porosity is, you can think of it, it's a metal lattice structure. You can think of it like a metal foam, right? And so what that metal foam is able to do is it allows the gas to bleed out of the system in places that are different than just the central distal exit at the end of the can, okay? And in doing so, what that has is it's a kind of a trifold thing. Number one, it's a super high surface area environment, which means it's able to pull a lot of the heat out of those muzzle gases very efficiently versus other cans, right? Okay. So the 3 key components for making a suppressor quiet, or why a suppressor is louder, is the differential temperature and pressure of those gases coming out of the can to atmospheric pressure, right? Okay. So by stripping the heat out of it, we're also lowering the velocity of those gases and we're dropping the pressure. So by doing those 3 key components, it's making it supremely quiet at the muzzle. But the best part about all of that, by bleeding that pressure off, we're not creating all that back pressure that you would normally have in a traditional gas trap type suppressor, right? Yes. So you're not getting all that port pop, all that blowback out of your action back of your shooter's ear. So we're getting incredible shooter's ear performance while still maintaining incredible muzzle performance simultaneously. So it's like a best of both worlds, and it's pretty unique to our system. So we're pretty happy with it.
And what is it called again?
So this is the vent one. Oh, purposely induced porosity.
All right, cool. So it has high purpleoperlis. Yeah, man.
It's basically laser magic. I draw shapes on computers, and then a bunch of lasers do shit in a machine, and then stuff comes out of it. I don't totally understand how it works either, but it's pretty cool. So
yeah. And then the materials, right? This Inconel as well?
No, so this one's titanium. So our I'll call them our legacy lines, right, or whatever. So the ones that have been out for a little bit longer, those 3 are all titanium: the 7.62, the 5.56, and the 9mm. And then this newer 5.56 right here is the only Inconel offering right now. But I mean, you know, in the future, never say never on anything. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a titanium skew of this and some iteration of this in an Inconel, something, you know, obviously with a shorter overall length to kind of balance the weight ratio and stuff like that. But, you know, honestly, man, the sky's the limit. You know, we're working on a ton of stuff simultaneously. So keep an eye out if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then another thing, man, a lot of people hear about Inconel, right?
Yep.
I can already tell. Don't even have to ask. I know this is full auto rated.
Yes, it is.
What is another property of Inconel in the accuracy department?
I mean, it's not going to affect accuracy or whatever.
Yeah.
Accuracy is not really necessarily an artifact of material. It would be an artifact of the geometries that are inside the can, right?
Yeah.
All these cans are engineered because that's the kind of shooting that I like to do. I like to do precision shooting. So I engineer everything to try and be as precise as possible for sure.
Yeah, because I heard...
you're talking, okay, so when you say accuracy, you mean more point of impact, point of aim shift kind of stuff like
when
that.
The can heats up.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
Inconel.
So it shouldn't affect anything really. I mean, that's kind of a weird question because it depends on host weapon, barrel profile, all those kinds of stuff. All that kind of stuff can have an effect, right? If you have a really thin, like pencil barrel profile or something like that, the heavier the can is, the more shift you might see initially. But in an overall sense, it's really not going to make that big of a difference.
Not at all, man. I like this can.
Cool, man. Yeah, it's got some crazy stuff going on the inside. You know, we're known for the PIP stuff, right? And what it's able to bring to the system versus other stuff. But, you know, the rest of the geometries that I put in here are also pretty wild. And most people don't know about that. And I keep it kind of on the down low for that. And that's fine with me. So it's all good.
All right. So that's PTR, man. That's a new offerings, man. I love these cans. They're light, you know what I'm saying? This one in particular, as big as it is, right? It looks this, it's light. It has purpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpurpur